Today the topic is cyclic group. It's a different kind of group. We all are familiar with the concept of group like G, O, where O is called the binary operation over the non-empty set G. Then if it satisfies the total 4 properties, closure, associative, identity and inverse, these are the 4 properties. If it satisfies, then we will say that G, O is a group. Now we have a particular type of group which is called cyclic group. Now what type of groups are called cyclic group? A group G, O is said to be cyclic group if all of its element can be expressed as a multiple of a single element. That means G can be written as a to the power n for n belongs to Z. That is, all the elements of G will be a to the power 0, a to the power 1, a to the power 2 and so on, a to the power minus 1, a to the power minus 2, a to the power minus 3 and so on. That means all the elements, whatever element you take, it could be expressed by a to the power n. That is, suppose a to the power 5 or a to the power 6 and like this. So if this happens for a particular group, then we will say this group is a cyclic group, and this element A is said to be the generator of that group. This is called generator of that group. Clearly this generator obviously belongs to that group, that is A belongs to G, and G is sometimes written as this sign by A. That means G is generated by A, and G is a cyclic group which is generated by A, and this A is called the generator of G. Okay, and G can be written as like this, a to the power n. Or whenever this is for the multiplicative group. That means A composition A up to A. That means if we multiply A n times, then what will we get? A to the power n. If this happens n times, then a to the power n. So this is for the multiplicative group. And for the additive cyclic group, we write G equals NA such that n belongs to Z. That means where the binary operation is the addition, that is plus. In that case, NA means adding A n times. Okay. So this is how we express additive cyclic group by NA. That means G is generated by that single element A, and this is how by e to the power n we express multiplicative or any other kind of cyclic groups where this is also generated by the single element A, and that single element is called the generator of the group. Now we will take few examples of cyclic group. At first consider Z plus. Z means the set of integers. That is 0 plus minus 1 plus minus 2 and so on. This is Z. And considering the binary operation as plus or addition, then what will be the generator? We can take 1 as the generator, right? Because we can express Z as n into 1 such that n belongs to Z. Now multiply all the integers with 1. At first you multiply 0, you will get 0. Then multiply 1, you will get 1. Minus 1, you will get minus 1. 2, you will get 2. For minus 2, you will get minus 2 and so on. That means the whole integer set will be generated by that single element 1. Right? Similarly, by the single element minus 1, you can also the same express the whole set of integers by this way. Because Z could be written as n into minus 1 such that n belongs to Z. That means you take any integer, that is you take the integers one by one. At first 0, then you will get 0, then 1 you will get minus 1, Put n equals -1, you will get +1. Put n equal 2, you will get -2, and so on. That means it will generate the whole set of integers. So for the group Z plus, we got total 2 integers, +1 and -1. Okay. So for the set Z plus, the generators are +1 and -1. Okay. Now consider another example. S equals 1, -1. And consider the operation as the multiplicative. That means dot. So S, dot. Then this will also be a cyclic group which is generated by -1. -1 is the generator here, because we can express S as n into -1 such that n belongs to Z. So whenever you take different elements for n, you will get the result. That means S 1, -1, this is a cyclic group generated by -1. The next example is S equals 1, -1, I, -I. Sorry, this will be -1 whole to the power n. So next is S equals 1, -1, I, -I. This is also with respect to multiplication. That is S, dot. This one. Now what will be the generator here? Here we got total 2 generators, I and -I. That is I and -I. How? We can express S as I to the power n, like a to the power n. We can express it like I to the power n, such that n belongs to Z. This one. Okay. So if you take one integers in 1 by 1, all the integers, you will get all the elements of S. Whenever you will take n equals 1, you will get I. You will take n equals -1, that means 1 by I, which ultimately gives you the value 1 by I. That means I by I square, that means -I, which ultimately give you the value -I. Similarly, you put n equals 2, you will get I square. I square means -1. So you got -1. Next, put I equals -2. Then you will get 1 by I square. That means -1 again, and so on. So by applying n equals 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, -2, 3, 4 and 0, all the elements, you will get all the elements of the set S, which are +-1 and +-I. That means by that single element I, the whole set S can be generated. So S is said to be a cyclic group which is generated by I. That means S can be written as like this sign, I. Similarly, -I is also another generator for S. Then S can be written as this sign also, generated by -I. So for this group S, we got 2 generators, I and -I. So this is how we get the generators for cyclic groups. Now moving to few properties of cyclic group. Number 1. If G be a cyclic group generated by A, then A inverse is also a generator. Then A inverse is also a generator. We have to prove this. That means if A is a generator, A inverse is also a generator. Now whenever A is a generator, that means G can be written as A to the power n, such that n belongs to Z, right? Now we have to prove that g can be written as also as minus a whole to the power n. For that reason we are considering this set H, which is a inverse, sorry, not minus a inverse. So we want to prove g can be written as a inverse whole to the power n. So for that reason we are considering the set H such that H equals a inverse whole to the power n, such that n belongs to z. So our target here is to prove g equals H. That's it. Then our theorem will be done. Now whenever we are trying to prove two sets are equal, what will we do? We will prove that each set is the subset of the others. That means we have to prove first g is a subset of H, then H is a subset of g. And what is the criteria for proving that one set is the subset of another set? We take one element from one set, we will show this element also belongs to the other set. So let's take some p belongs to g. Let p belongs to g be any arbitrary element. Now g is generated by a, that means p can be written as some power of a for some integer r, right? Now this can be written as a inverse whole to the power minus r. By the property of index, this minus minus will becomes plus, that is a to the power r. So we can write this. Now that means this belongs to some group which is generated by a inverse, right? That means this equals H. So P belongs to H. From there we can say P belongs to H. So G is a subset of H. Now we have to prove the whole converse thing. That means H is a subset of G. So for that reason we take some element Q belongs to H, some arbitrary element. Then Q can be written as A inverse whole to the power some S for some S belongs to Z, right? Because H is generated by A inverse. So Q could be written as like this. That means Q is equals A to the power minus S. Now a to the power minus s equals some minus s is also an integer. We can write it like some m, a to the power m, where m equals minus s. This one. This is also an integer. So we can write this belongs to generated by a, which is equals g. That means q belongs to g. So h is a subset of g. Now taking into account this line and this line, we can claim that G and H are same. That means A inverse is also a generator of G. Okay. Next property, property number 2. Every cyclic group is abelian. Every cyclic group is abelian. Abelian means commutative. Yes. Okay, I'm writing commutative. You are quite familiar with that term. Commutative. We have to prove this. So let's take one cyclic group. Let G comma O is a cyclic group. Okay. That means it must have some generator. So let G is generated by A. Now take two elements, P comma Q belongs to G. We have to prove G is commutative. That means P composition Q is equals to Q composition P. That's it. We have to prove only this thing. So starting with P comma Q belongs to G. Now whenever all G is a cyclic group generated by A, that means each element of G could be represented by some multiple of A. So P can be written as some A to the power R and Q can be written as some A to the power S, where R and S both are integers. Okay. So starting with P composition Q, that means A to the power R composition A to the power S. That means A to the power R plus S. Right. Similarly Q composition P, it will become A to the power S composition A to the power R. That is A to the power S plus R. Now R plus S and S plus R both are same, because we know the addition of two integers are always commutative. So we can write S plus R as R plus S. That means this is equals P composition Q. So from here we can conclude Q composition P equals P composition Q. And as P and Q are arbitrary elements, so this commutativity property also satisfy for all the other elements for G. That means G is a commutative group or an abelian group. That means whenever we will get one cyclic group, we can claim this is a commutative group. But the converse is not always true. That means there might be some commutative group which might not be cyclic. For example, we can take Klein's 4 group. You don't know about that group, so let me introduce Klein's 4 group first. It consists of 4 elements, and it is generally denoted by K4 or single capital K also. And the elements are E, A, B, C. This is called Klein's 4 group. This is a perfect example to show that the commutativity doesn't imply the cyclic group. So K4 equals this, and the operation for the Klein's 4 group are given as whenever you will compose any 2 element, they will give the third non-identity element. Whenever you will compose any 2 non-identity elements, they will give the third non-identity element. And whenever you will compose 2 same elements, it will give the identity element. Okay, that means if E composition A, this will obviously be A because for the identity property, or if you compose A composition B, you will get C. These are 2 non-identity elements, you will get the third non-identity element. Similarly, A composition C, you will get B. B composition C, you will get A. And for A composition A, you will get E, B composition B, you will get E, and so on. This is the operation method or the binary composition method for Klein's 4 group. Now this group is an abelian group or a commutative group, but not cyclic. This group has no generator to prove it's a cyclic one. So this is an example that is a group could be abelian but might not be cyclic. Moving to the next property of cyclic group. If G is a finite cyclic group, generated by some element A, that means G can be written as like this, then order of G equals n if and only if order of A equals n. That means for a cyclic group, the order of that group and the order of the generator element should be same, and it's a if and only if condition. That means it is implies and implied by the same thing. Whenever order of G is n, that means the same order will be taken by its generator element, and whenever the generator element having the order n, the order of that group will also be the same thing. We have to prove it. So starting with the necessary part. Let order of A equals n. We are taking the order of the generator element is n. So we have to prove order of the group is also n. Now consider the element A square, A cube up to A to the power n. Now whenever order of A equals n, that means A to the power n will be equal to E. Right? Now these are all distinct element of G. Right? So this set A square up to dot dot A to the power n, which is equals to E, again this is a subset of G. Right? Now G can be written as A to the power n such that n belongs to Z, because this is by the definition of cyclic group, as G is generated by the arbitrary element A. G is generated by the element A, so G could be written as A to the power n such that n belongs to Z. Now we are choosing some arbitrary element P belongs to G. Any arbitrary element. Now G is generated by A, that means P can be written as some A to the power m, right, for some integer m belongs to Z. Now we will apply division algorithm between that m and the order of that element n. So if we apply division algorithm between m and n, what will we get? That means if we try to divide m by n, then what will we get? We will get some quotient value and some remainder. So we are saying that by division algorithm, there exists some q and r such that m is nq plus r, where 0 less or equal to r less than n by the property of division algorithm, that is by the property of remainder, this should be less than the divisor and greater or equal to 0. So we got m equals nq plus r. Now p equals a to the power m, putting that value of m over there. This one, so a to the power nq, composition a to the power r, we can write it a to the power n whole to the power q, composition a to the power r. Now what does it mean? A to the power n, it means e, the identity element. That means it will become e to the power q. Now e to the power q, that means obviously e. Now e composition any other element, that is this element a to the power r. Right, so we got p equals a to the power r. Now check 0 less or equal to r less than n. That means p belongs to that range a to the power 0, a square up to dot dot a to the power r is less than n. That means n minus 1 would be the last element. P belongs to some one of that elements, that is either a to the power 0 or a square or anything or any between that list. P must belongs to that. So p belongs to a to the power 0, a square dot dot a to the power n, which is equals to e, because p could be e also an element of G. So p belongs to this particular set. That means G is a subset of this particular set. And again we have proved that this set is a subset of G. So taking into account these two lines, we can claim G equals this one, a to the power n. Now how many elements are there? Total n elements starting with 1 and ended at n. So the order of G is equals to n. This proves the necessary part of the theorem. Similarly, we can prove the sufficient part also. That is, whenever order of G is equals to n, this will imply order of the generator is equals to n. That means we can claim from that theorem that is the order of the group and order of its generator will be same. Okay, this is a very useful property of cyclic group.